You take something like 20,000 breaths every single day. We all do. It's so automatic, right? We don't even think about it. But what if the very air we're pulling into our lungs, this invisible thing that keeps us alive, is actually carrying a hidden threat? Today, we're going to dig into the source material on air pollution and really see what's at stake.
So let's start with a really basic question. What's actually in the air we breathe? It sounds simple, but the answer is way more complicated than you might think. Sure, there's the oxygen our bodies need, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff mixed in. Some of it's natural, and, well, some of it really isn't. So let's dive in and see what the sources tell us.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to start with the basics. Before we get into the causes and the consequences, we need a clear idea of what we even mean when we say air pollution.
At its heart, it's actually pretty simple. Air pollution is just what happens when harmful stuff, gases, tiny particles, chemicals, gets into our atmosphere. Think of it as anything that messes with the air's natural balance and makes it less healthy for us, for animals, and for the planet as a whole.
And here's the real kicker. While some pollution does happen naturally, the source material is crystal clear. The vast majority of it comes from us, from human activities. This is really a story about our own footprint on the world.
Okay, so if we're the ones mostly responsible, the next question is obvious, right? Where exactly is all this pollution coming from? Let's break down the major sources.
This slide lays it all out. You've got the big, obvious ones like burning fossil fuels in our cars and in the power plants that keep our lights on. Then you have all the industrial processes, everything from making our phones to mining for materials. It doesn't stop there. Even growing our food contributes through things like fertilizers and livestock. And on a smaller scale, even stuff we do at home, like burning wood in a fireplace, adds to the mix. And yeah, sure, nature has its moments with volcanoes and forest fires, but the key thing to remember is that our human contribution just completely dwarfs all of that.
So we know what it is, and we know where it's coming from, but what's the big deal? I mean, why does this matter so much? Well, this next part breaks down the very real and very high costs of it all.
First and foremost, the source material drives this point home. This is personal. This isn't some abstract problem happening somewhere else. It directly impacts our own bodies, our health, the very foundation of our lives.
And we're not talking about a minor inconvenience here. Look at this list. There's a direct line from polluted air to serious, life-altering conditions. Things like asthma and bronchitis, even lung cancer and heart problems. And of course, the more common stuff, like irritation in your eyes and throat. This is an abstract risk. It's a real and present danger.
But the impact doesn't just stop inside our bodies. The problem kind of ripples outward from there. And as we're about to see, the health of the entire planet is really on the line.
This is where you see the scale of the problem just explode. Air pollution is a major engine behind global warming. It creates acid rain, which can poison entire forests and lakes. It even eats away at the ozone layer, which is our planet's natural sunscreen. And of course, it directly damages the crops and forests we rely on for food and, well, for a stable climate. So, beyond our personal health and the health of the planet, there's one more area this hits that, let's be honest, gets everyone's attention: our economy. This slide really illustrates the economic one-two punch. On one side, you have healthcare costs just going through the roof as more and more people get sick from pollution-related illnesses. And on the other side, all that damage to crops and forests, that means we're producing less. So it's costing us more, and we're getting less. It's a lose-lose.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, and it is a serious problem. But it is not the end of the story. The source material is also really clear about laying out a path forward, a roadmap for how we can actually start to fix this.
So what's the game plan? Well, the sources lay out 5 key battlegrounds. First, we have to switch our energy. That means getting serious about moving from fossil fuels to renewables like solar and wind. Second, transport. We've got to rethink how we get around. More public transit, more electric vehicles, cleaner fuels. Third, industry needs to step up with stricter emission rules and better technology to filter out the bad stuff. Fourth, we got to manage our waste better. You know the drill: reduce, reuse, recycle. Anything to avoid just burning it. And finally, number 5 is so simple but so powerful: restore nature. Plant more trees. They're literally the lungs of the planet.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It boils the whole strategy down. It's not about finding one magic solution. It's a 3-pronged attack. Clean up our energy, clean up our transportation, and make our industries way more efficient. It's the whole shebang.
So the big takeaway here is pretty clear. The problem is huge. It's serious, It touches every single part of our lives, our health, our planet, our economy. But, and this is the crucial part, the sources also show us that it is solvable. The know-how is there, the technology exists, the solutions are literally in our hands. The only question left is, what are we going to do with them?